We will discuss how investors are coping with the cryptocurrency crash in this video. Before you watch this video, be sure to like it and follow our channel for future updates. Forget about financial results and the barrage of numbers that the Bitcoin sector frequently releases. Since investors' fascination with the cryptocurrencies began a few years ago, anecdotes rather than data have dominated the market. The story that the Bitcoin would eventually replace fiat currency in a worldwide digital economy was first told. Then came the argument that decentralized finance, or DeFi, would put banks and the rest of the establishment on the defensive, while giving customers better means to manage their assets. Much is on the line. The collapse of the certain large projects, notably Celsius and Terra, which destroyed more than $60 billion in the market capitalization over a few days in May, has caused the cryptocurrency market to have lost more than half of its value this year. As part of a wider crackdown, American officials are punishing well-known platforms for potential money laundering. Even seasoned cryptocurrency figures are in a deep funk as a result of the negative news, which has caused the industry to experience its greatest confidence crisis since the crash of the 2018. Bitcoin in cryptocurrencies may be summed up in one word: volatile. While rumors, sentiments, and fundamental events are promptly taken into account by the market, cryptocurrency prices surge and then seem to plummet almost as quickly. Early in June, Bitcoin dropped from $30,500 to roughly $23,500 in just 4 days, a decrease of nearly 23%. In the same period, Ethereum fell more than 31%, and it appears that this year's entire cryptocurrency market has been declining. Software engineer Adam Heike is from San Diego, California. Heike claimed that the group's members had blooded out, and we are still good, over the previous 3 days. In all honesty, he said, "It shook me. Just had to stop paying attention to my balance. My cryptocurrency investments increased once. Months ago, I have now lost 40%. Heike is not alone at all. Serious and casual investors alike have seen the value of their holdings in the publicly accessible digital asset known as the cryptocurrencies drastically decline in the recent months, with significant drops only last week. Since its high in November of the last year, the value of the Bitcoin, the most widely used cryptocurrency, has dropped by more than 70%, wiping out more than 18 months of growth and leaving many investors unsure of whether this is the lowest or worst price ever. Let's go. When I first started using Bitcoin in 2017, Heike stated, "I had to remind myself that it was more of something I was just hoping would be the next Amazon.com. Like many others, Heike hoped that investing in the cryptocurrencies might one day make him wealthy, or at the very least contribute to his retirement funds. I've always considered it to be a long-term investment, but I'm more anxious than ever about it," he admitted. You see folks claim it's all a Ponzi scheme on the social media. Now I'm beginning to wonder if those warnings are accurate and the individuals pushing Bitcoin so hard are actually the ones that purchased it while it was still very inexpensive. Of course, they want others to buy so that the value will increase once more. Is it good for me if it is good for them? The lack of government regulation of the cryptocurrencies, which leave them open to fraud and volatile price swings, is cited as a primary issue by those who are dubious about them. As a licensed financial advisor in New Orleans, Louisiana Marani de Mauriac says, "I've always considered it as an extremely speculative investment. Unless they choose to face a large degree of the unneeded risk, no one should have the majority of their wealth invested in it," said the expert. According to de Mauriac, "I advise my customers to avoid investing any sizable percentage of their fortune in the cryptocurrencies or any other extremely speculative sort of investment. However, a large portion of the most enthusiastic cryptocurrency enthusiasts invest exactly because it's unrelated to governments in the same way that traditional currencies are. A significant component of the appeal of the digital currency is its ability to rise rapidly in value. A self-employed poker player named Steve Ryan from the Las Vegas, Nevada, began buying digital money roughly 10 years ago. I understand this stuff much better than the typical person who just learned about it from reading about it on the internet a year or two ago, since I've been in it for so long, he claimed. Ryan made an investment based on the advice of his business-minded pals when Bitcoin were only worth a few $100s as opposed to the thousands they are now. He told VOA, "I wish I had kept more of my money in the cryptocurrency rather than selling some of it. Even after this slump, if I had kept it all to myself, I would have been a multimillionaire." The Federal Reserve increased interest rates as a result of the US inflation reaching 40 years high, which shook the global markets. At the same time, some Americans are less interested in taking on greater risk. A lot of people have sold their Bitcoins and reinvested the proceeds in safe, reliable investments. From a high of $3.2 trillion to a low of $1 trillion, the total market value of the cryptocurrencies increased. Ryan admitted on Saturday that he was absolutely frightened after the Bitcoin fell to its lowest level since December 2020. Ryan, meanwhile, has insisted he continues to believe in the Bitcoin. He stated, "I'm worried because there's a war going on in Europe. There's a lot of inflation. We are still recovering from the effects of a pandemic, and governments can try to regulate Bitcoin. However, since I believe Bitcoin to be just as robust as before, I'm not concerned about it. Cycles operate in this way, and now may be among the best times ever to enter the crypto sphere." Despite the uncertainty among the speculative cryptocurrency investors, many seem content to stick onto what they have in the event of a comeback. Joe Frizzard, an Atlanta resident who is semi-retired, stated, "Of course, when it rose to more over $60,000, I had high ideas that I could earn enough money to go on a big trip or to make an installment on a house, Georgia." Frizzard acknowledged that the decline had diminished his goals, but he is still intended to keep on to the cryptocurrency he had not already sold while it was getting close to its high. He added, "I too lost a significant amount of money in the stock market, but I do not want to sell my shares. They are a long-term investment, and Bitcoin is similar to them in my opinion." Gordon Henderson, a former Los Angeles, California marching band director for colleges, is also not in a rush. "In comparison to my very minor crypto assets, I'm far more anxious about my shares in my retirement fund," he declared. In 1987, when Henderson's father was 69 years old, he switched his retirement fund into cash in order to avoid the stock market being momentarily decimated by a recession. Henderson observed he was quite proud of his timing, but in fact he would have ended up with 8 times more money if he had weathered the storm and kept his money in the stock market for another 20 years. "This is how I view cryptocurrencies. I will stick with it, and maybe my kids' college tuition will be covered. If not, I was ready to suffer a setback." Despite owning Bitcoin for many years, Colin Ash, an urban planner in the New Orleans, Louisiana, said he saw it as a fun gambling game. "It's not reasonable to assume you could ever accomplish it with any kind of investment," he said, adding that, of course, he wished he had put it up perfectly and sold everything at the top. "It's something I consider apart from the rest of my finances. In the long term, if something positive comes of it, fantastic. If not, at least I was able to pay off some debt by selling some." The secret, according to Heike in San Diego and many other investors, is to never spend more money than you can stand to lose, particularly when dealing with a speculative asset like cryptocurrencies. "I made the decision to stop buying Bitcoin on a weekly basis, given the current situation and how far everything has fallen," he stated. "I believe that for the time being, I have already invested. Well, it's rather tricky, because if you want to earn money, you have to buy low and sell high, he responded after pausing for a bit. Since Bitcoin is now cheap, I'll probably return quickly. What are your thoughts on this video? Please share your thoughts in the section below. Do not forget to click the subscribe option if you want to hear from us again.